Today on Time About the Movies, we're heading back to Wonderland to kick off the month of March. We've got a 19-year-old Alice, a Mad Hatter played by Johnny Depp, a Red Queen played by Helena Bonham Carter, a Cheshire Cat played by Stephen Fry, and Tim Burton taking one of Disney's animated classics and beginning the trend of live-action remakes of the animated classics that we still have to this very day. As we take a look at the new Alice in Wonderland, we take a look at Antoine Fuqua's latest film with Richard Gere, Ethan Hawke, Don Cheadle, and Wesley Snipes, Brooklyn's finest. And we have one of this year's Best Animated Feature Oscar nominees, The Secret of Kells. That's March 5th, 2010, and Time About the Movie starts next. Welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we're taking a look at the three films that kick off March 2010, March 5th to be exact. And of course our first one is the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Of course the film that was the first of many, many live-action Disney animated classics brought to life on the big screen. Live-action remakes of Disney animated classics brought to life on the big screen. But also this was also the first 3D release since Avatar came out. The first big digital 3D release, so that meant that after 2.5 months of having Avatar in theaters as the lone digital 3D offering for people, we're going to start getting into a trend of other studios coming in and saying, hey, Disney, Fox, you aren't the only ones who can make digital 3D. Some will be successful, others not so much. But Alice in Wonderland was certainly a big success in general in a number of different ways. And as I said before, this is where you have Alice, now 19 years old, accidentally returning to Underland, which is now the name of it, a place she previously visited 13 years ago, and she is told that she's the only one that can slay the Jabberwocky, a dragon controlled by the Red Queen. You also have Anne Hathaway as the, I guess the White Queen, because she's literally dressed in white, but you also have other characters, some played by Crispin Glover. You have a couple of notable characters from the story, Tweedledum, many, many other characters as well, and, yeah, this is a very interesting movie indeed. While I was watching the first 15 minutes, I got kind of bored by it. I thought they were very hollow until the magic started to happen. Kind of like with Where the Wild Things Are. The film didn't really get going, and that film didn't get going until we left for the island. We left to go to the island, and then the first 10 minutes in here, they're bad, but then again, it's not as bad as Where the Wild Things Are. But you know, once we get to Alice going down the rabbit hole, and suddenly she's back in the place where she was before in Wonderland. It's just like then the movie starts to get going, and it is a fun movie overall. I thought my four favorite characters overall were Alice, played very well by Mia Wasikowska, who's going to have another great movie later in the year where the kids are all right. I thought the Mad Hatter overall wasn't bad in here. Johnny Depp I thought was pretty good. The White Queen, played by Anne Hathaway, is pretty good. Probably my favorite character of all was the Cheshire Cat, Stephen Fry, who really just knocked it out of the park, man. I mean, he was the one that I liked the most. Calming, strange looking, and I saw this in 3D, and in 3D, he looked pretty badass in 3D. I mean, you can see why he's all over the marketing, especially towards the end there. But, and, you know, I saw it in 3D, and I think in 3D it looks pretty cool. When I got to watch it afterwards at home, it really lost a lot of the fun that was in the 3D version of it. I mean, the 3D version was, I think, the more fun version to watch of this, having the things coming at you, and it's done very well overall. But, lost my train of thought there for a second, but, I mean, it's not a bad movie overall. Like when I did my top, ranking the best or worst Disney live-action remakes, I think I had this at number 10, like it was very much in the top 10 overall. There's lots of things I liked about it, lots of things I didn't like about it, but overall, it's good. It's good for what it is. I mean, it certainly is a lot better than the sequel that came out later on down the road, and it was a good jumping point for Disney's direction with the live-action remakes that they have coming up here. These are movies that are not necessarily going to be movies that are going to try to take over the classic animated movies. They're basically just cover songs. They're cover songs and trying to do something unique and different with them. And I thought it worked over here for the most part. It's not the best overall, but it certainly is up there. It certainly is much better than some of the lesser Disney live-action remakes, and certainly is a lot better than some of the ones the other one that Tim Burton related to in the decade with Dumbo. But yeah, overall slow to pick up at first, but when it got going, it was pretty fun to watch overall. The 3D version, I think, is the best version. 2D, not so much, but I enjoyed it overall regardless. So, anyway, that's Alice in Wonderland. So let's go ahead and take a look at the movie that had the balls to go up against it and kind of succeeded. Not really, but certainly did much better than most people would have expected. Antoine Fuqua's latest film, Brooklyn's Finest. In Brooklyn, amid drug deals, violence, casual racism, poverty, housing projects, and corrupt cops, pretty much everything in the book, pretty much, we follow three officers, Tango, African-American, working undercover, believing he's earned a promotion to get a desk job, but told he has to set up to the bust of an ex-con who saved his life. Sal, who'll commit murder to get cash, and Eddie, the precinct's older beat cop, a week to go before retirement, assigned to mentor an earnest rookie. Can this end well for any of the three? It's a cop thriller, directed by Antoine Fuqua. You take a guess and see what happens, but overall, it's actually not that bad. Wesley Snipes was most notable in here because this was actually his first widely released film since 2004, and if I remember right, this is actually the film he did. He did this, and then he got arrested for tax evasion. Yeah, 2008 this happened, so this would have been right after they were filming this movie. He was essentially charged and then sentenced to 3 years in prison, which he did, and he finished it, and he got out in 2013. And lo and behold, he was just seen recently in Deadpool and Wolverine. So, hey, he did the time. So, but he's pretty. Everybody in here is pretty good. Richard Gere's pretty good in here too. It's good to see him back in a more dramatic role like this. Don Cheadle, Ethan Hawke, you can never go wrong with them. I love the fact that the trailer made you think this was like a sequel to Training Day, because it's literally Ethan Hawke, and he was in that movie. And it only been, 9 years since that movie came out, so it wouldn't have been that surprising at all if they tried to sell this as a Training Day sequel, which it definitely is not. But, like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's actually a good movie overall. And again, another decent film from Overture Films. Overture Films, I kind of give them a bad rap early on, but we did put out some good stuff overall. Ones that are definitely worth checking out. This is definitely one I highly recommend checking out. I like Antoine Fuqua's work a lot. I think that helps in my enjoyment of it too, because he's such a good director. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. I can't recommend it enough. Brooklyn's Finest, definitely must check out. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie, which coincidentally on this weekend, it was competing with some of the big animated features of the year for the Best Animated Feature Oscar, and that is, of course, The Secret of Kells. So young Brendan lives in a remote medieval outpost under siege from barbarian raids, but a new life of adventure beckons when a celebrated master illuminator arrives from the Isle of Iona carrying an ancient but unfinished book, brimming with secret weapons and wisdom and powers. To help complete the magical book, Brendan has to overcome his deepest fears on a dangerous quest that takes him into the enchanted forest where mythical creatures hide. It is here that he finds meets the fairy Ailing, played by, who plays this woman? This young girl, I should say, Kristen Mooney, and the kid is played by Evan McGuire, and the real big name in here is Brendan Gleeson, who plays Abbott Selleck. But he finds Ailing, a mysterious young wolf girl who helps him along the way. But with the barbarians closing in, will Brendan's determination and artistic vision illuminate the darkness and show that enlightenment is the best fortification against evil? This is a very good movie, and this is a film that I swear when I first saw it, I thought it was done by the same people who did Samurai Jack, Gendy Tartakovsky and his crew, but nope, this is not them at all. In fact, the most notable thing they did before this was, of all things, Skunk Fu, which is not a good sign at all, but they have definitely gone on to do much better things. Of course, after this, they did Song of the Sea, The Breadwinner, Wolf Walkers. The most recent film was My Father's Dragon, but they were also behind some animated movies, some animated things you might be familiar with. They did the Little Ellen TV show for Max. They did If You Give a Mouse a Cookie for Amazon. They did the Cuphead show for Netflix. And most recently, they did the Bob's Burgers movie, which I don't need to tell you where that came from and how much I enjoy that movie. So yeah, they definitely have some notable projects involved in them. And yeah, this is a really, really cool-looking movie. It has a nice visual style to it. It really doesn't feel like it's worthy of a big screen appearance when you really look at it. And then again, maybe it's because I watched it on television for the first time, because it never made it to my theater around here. But the movie itself is overall really good. You do get invested in the storyline of these two characters. and in this adventure that they're going on, and you do get invested in the adventures they're going on as well. It's a really engaging movie. It's a really well-made film, animated beautifully. The studio is Cartoon Saloon, which I've mentioned some of their stuff before, but I mean, they did a pretty good job of making this work in their first major film project, and they wanted to do more movies like this. And I haven't seen the other ones, but it really makes me want to go watch those ones. So, yeah, can't recommend this one enough. The Secret of Kells. Definitely seek it out if you're looking for some good underrated animation. This one's definitely worth a watch. So with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we have a wide assortment of movies this weekend coming up. Some good ones. Matt Damon starring in the latest film from Paul Green Zone with Greg Kinnear and Amy Ryan. Jay Baruchel falling for Alice Eve in the comedy She's Out of My League. And then you get to the bad stuff. Robert Pattinson starring in Remember Me, which, if you have never heard of this movie or have never seen it, then you are not prepared for the biggest "are you effing kidding me" you will see in your entire life. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know you're in for a treat next time we come around here. But we also have America Ferrera starring with Carlos Mencia and Forrest Whitaker in Father of the Bride, which really it's not, but it really kind of is. Our Family Wedding is the name of the movie. It's Father of the Bride, let's just be honest here. But we will take a look at all four of those movies. That'll be coming up tomorrow on the show, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so you get updates on when new videos come out. And we do post new videos here every day. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist as well as the previous episode from yesterday. Now, with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. So until then, take care.